Dear Governors, Smalley, ladies and gentlemen, let me thank Governor Smalley, the host, for this kind invitation and opportunity to take part in the conference and address this forum. This is my first time in Kiev in official capacity. All my previous visits to this beautiful city of the Dnieper were in a less formal character as a tourist or traveler. I'm always impressed by the attractiveness and the beauty of the city itself, of the entire country, and the efforts undertaken in the Ukraine to reform its institutions and economy. In particular, because of in addition to usual problems of all reformers, we know this all very well. First is the intellectual dimension of the task itself, is what to do first, what priority everywhere. Obviously, then in our part of the world, in our part of Europe, it's the legacy of the central planned economy, many decades, huge cost. But then the problems faced by all reformers, that is the scarcity of funds, the power of vested interests, and the open political system and the rivalry connected with the open political system, where you have to make your case and win. And obviously, in addition to that, in the Ukraine, there's yet another factor. Since a few years, that is the open military conflict at the border, which makes challenges and accomplishments even more hard to achieve. So if Dnieper is twice as huge as Vistula in Warsaw, I understand that your problems and challenges will be at least 4 times as big. This is the 4th conference of the organized jointly by the National Bank of Ukraine, together with the participation of Narodowy Bank Polski. This year's conference topic is Central Bank Communication from Mystery to Transparency. Over the last decades, central banks had to learn how to communicate with the public, with the financial markets, with the governments. And as they walked on this learning curve, they walked this on simultaneously with the increasing independence, because, well, 30 years ago, when lots of central banks worked hand in hand with governments, or some that were just the extension of the Ministry of Finance, the public did not expect them to communicate. It was rather the executive power which was expected to make the case in favor of the chosen path of its economic policy and to defend it. So, well-known cases, for example, the case of the Bank of England, which obtained full autonomy when it comes to monetary policy 20 years ago, more or less at the same time when it happened in Poland in the late 90s. Because previously, most of the key questions were addressed to the Minister of Finance, or strictly speaking, they call this job the Chancellor of Exchequer in Britain. And only under the times of the Bank of England Act of 98, the bank was given sole responsibility for monetary policy, and it had to learn innovative ways to communicate with the public. And they are treated as one of the leaders in this field, obviously. For example, through their first product, the inflation report, emulated by many of the banks, the National Bank of Poland as well. Communication is obviously the meta function of the central bank, the additional function which should be built on high quality, predictable monetary policy. Because even best communication cannot change reality. But also bad communication or lack of any communication may make real problem twice as big. There are lots of cases from the monetary history to illustrate this, I think, self-evident thesis. A few of them a little bit debatable, of course, but this is the scientific conference, the research conference. It's not the political convention with the usual portion of orchestrated enthusiasm. So exchange of arguments is more than welcome. And two of them which I selected are from the European Union and my country. Well, for example, 10 years ago, more or less 10 years ago, when the European Central Bank decided on October the 8th to set an interest rate at 2.25% and then increase it immediately to 3.25%, and only to reverse this position a month later in November this year. And all that happened in the context of the financial crisis, global financial crisis. So I wonder how you could communicate such policy to the public convincingly. But perhaps I should do a little bit more research, but I have not found the convincing explanation of this policy fluctuation. And it had its result on the actual events in Europe during next years. The other example is even more closer to me, because it's from my country. It was from more or less 20 years ago, at more or less the same time when as I said at the beginning, we have implemented full autonomy, full independence of the central bank when it comes to the monetary policy. Because in Poland and also in 1998, the central bank was reformed and the independent monetary policy council was established. We have the two-tier system. There is the management of the bank and the independent monetary council policy. And the inflation was falling, but at the time the main interest rate of the bank was set at 13% in the beginning of '99. 13%, so we are quite in another territory when it comes to the present reality. Only to be increased to 16.5 in November this year, and then even a second increase to 19% in August 2000. And over the course of the next year, 2001, it was reduced to 11.5%. Now, when you look at behind the reasons for this policy change, you have lots of huge field for discussion. Because what are the basic parameters of the economy at that time? The economy was growing at a healthy rate of 5% per year. Unemployment was more or less at 10%. But there was a huge current account deficit. Huge or sizable? We don't know. It was around 8%. On the top of that, the other parameter which usually should be discussed in this context is the budget deficit. But it was, when it comes to present realities, Europe-wide, it's quite modest. It was 2.3, 2.4%. But still, the Monetary Policy Council thought that the economy is overheated. And they expressly decided to cool it down. Because of the 8% current account deficit of the country. Well, they did it. And the result was, obviously they slashed the current account deficit by half. But then economy's growth almost stagnated. It fell to 1% per year. And the unemployment shot up to 20%. And on top of that, as I said, communication. At that time, there was hardly any communication. The regular press conferences of the Monetary Policy Council started only next year, 2001. with the new governor. So not only the reasons behind the decision were not properly, I should say, discussed within the banking and financial community, but the public was not properly informed about this decision and could not engage in a fruitful discussion. Yes, there was a price, obviously. 20% unemployment. You can imagine what happened. 2001. It's many years ago. But then what happened on the political scene? Yes, we have the panel on that, populism. That is the first time when the Populist Party came into parliament, 2001. Everything changed. Since that time, they are no longer represented. But yes, that's the challenge. How to communicate your decisions, how to engage, discuss, or fight the populists, and how to learn from your experience. It is obviously recommendable that each country and institutions learns on the basis of mistakes and experiences of other institutions or countries, because it's cost-free. The know-how spreads freely, free of costs, and it's ideally you may catch up on the basis of the mistakes of others. That's the ideal, obviously, because we know that there's an ample evidence from life that we usually have problems with learning on our own mistakes even. But what about the mistakes of the others? But still the ideal should be parachute, I believe. And that's one of the purposes of our conference today. And with this in mind, I wish all participants a fruitful conference and fruitful few days in Kiev. Thank you.